All righty, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is a beautiful Tuesday here in San Antonio, and it's an incredibly awesome day because I get to invite you to join us as we interview the founder of Closet Melody, Daisy Egeolu. She is a longtime member of Geekdom, a huge presence in the tech community, and one of the best kept secrets in town. If you haven't had a chance to talk to Daisy about any of her ideas or her experience and expertise in all things technology, you're definitely missing out. We are in week 2 of the 2020 Pre-accelerator cohort. Daisy is our second founder. I cannot wait to get things started. So with that, I would love to kind of turn your attention over to Daisy. And Daisy, would you please give everybody a little bit of background on yourself and how you kind of got into technology and what you're doing in San Antonio?
Okay, hi. Hi, everyone, and thanks, Joyce, for having me on. So my background, I have a background in electrical and computer engineering as well as business. That's where I got my degrees in. I've had experience with multiple startups, first in the wearable tech space, and then in the brand tech. And I also have experience as a product manager at Staples, working on the mobile app team. So that's my experience.
Oh my gosh. Well, so as a wearable tech nerd, having a background in IoT and a bunch of other things that you just mentioned, I am so glad that you're on because I think that this is the perfect synthesis for all of your experience coming together to kind of create a product like Closet Melody, which we're going to get into here in a minute. But before we do, if you're tuning in on our Facebook or YouTube channels, like please be sure to reach out and leave comments and questions. We're going to be giving them to Daisy throughout this process. So if you have any ideas that you want to run past her or ask her more about her experiences, or as we share more about the Closet Melody app, we'd love to hear from you. We'll definitely make sure that we see you. So Daisy, the background that you have is really impressive, and I knew that you were a massive addition to our community the first time I met you. But again, like I think this is a great opportunity for people to learn more about you. So how is it that Closet Melody came to be, and what exactly is it?
Okay, well, Closet Melody is a digital personal styling app that's solving the what to wear problem. We're solving it by offering instant outfit suggestions and a social network of outfits suitable to one's body shape and style. And we're currently focused on women's fashion. And what brought me to Closet Melody has been my own frustration from managing and acquiring my own clothing items. So, I mean, I tend to be an aimless shopper, just, buying, cool things, not knowing how to pair them with my own clothes, and also trying to keep up with the trends, which can be time consuming as well. Then I thought, you know what? There should be a way to automate all this so that it would be better I would have more time just enjoying what I, bought. So I decided to, create a way to automate outfit ideas and to, make it easier for people to shop online and offline.
Well, I definitely think that, given this current situation, like a tool like that is going to be more relevant than ever. And in the wearable space, I know that there's been all of these like smart suits that people can try on that like fit your body type to help you do clothing sizing and stuff. But this
Yeah.
app doesn't seem like you have to go through all of those troubles in order to find things that work for you. And I mean, who hasn't had a problem finding the right fit, men and women alike? But for sure, I know that women's sizes are just not standardized enough to allow for us to comfortably just step into any store and be like, oh, yeah, let me get that size 12 over there, very
Mhm.
easily. And so the fact that like we can be targeted about our time, that we can find clothes that fit, that we can do it all at our like fingertips and the convenience in our own homes is really amazing. Um, you know, how long have you been working on Closet Melody? It sounds like there's been a lot of development and a lot of time has been going into this. When did you get this whole thing started?
I got it started the fall of 2018, like ending of summer. But before that, I had to learn a lot of the technologies behind it.
Mm.
Uh, this is my first time doing mobile app development, so I had to learn all about that. So got started late summer 2018 and launched, you know, public beta in January, no, February 2019, and went off from there.
Wow, that's really amazing. How did your beta go? Like, how many people did you have in your test group?
The beta test group was about, it was up to 20 people. It went well, but I decided, let me just push it out into the market.
Well,
So I
that's very
decided,
brave.
yeah, well, I pushed it out to two test markets, Australia and New Zealand, just to get a feel for the app. So yeah, the beta testing was okay, but I got really good feedback when I just launched the app to the App Store.
Well, that I mean, blowing my mind even more. Like to take it from a beta with 20 potential, testers to then push it to, two different test markets and international test markets out of a San Antonio headquartered company. Like that's really brave and amazing. What lessons would you or like what would you share with founders who are currently developing mobile applications? It's almost impossible to think of these days like not having some kind of an app tied to a product or a service. What would you recommend people consider when building out their product like that?
I would consider starting small, starting with the minimum viable, products you can build. Um, and in terms of mobile app development, I use React Native since I came from a web development background, so that was easy to transition to. But I still had to learn some native development, so Swift and Objective-C for some of the modules. So I would say be prepared for learning more than you probably anticipate.
I mean, it definitely sounds like it because you're wearing so many hats, like
Yeah,
you've got your product development hat on, you have your quality assurance hat on, you have your
right.
visionary and founder hat on. Have you done all of this development and stuff by yourself over the last couple of years?
Yes, I have. That's why it took so long. Yes, yes. I did the front end and the back end. So yeah,
Wow.
I wouldn't recommend it, but if you can do it, if you have the skill, I would say go for it. Like get started on developing it because that's the best way to get feedback.
Yeah. I mean, some at the end of the day, you just have to kind of go forth and do the things in order to make them
Mm,
happen. Maybe you could share a little bit, being a woman in technology, having big visions of an app that can serve people all over the world, the pressures that come with that. I think it'd be really helpful for other female founders out there, specifically who want to do some kind of a technology startup. Like, what was going through your mind as you were starting to really push the boat out, and how did you find the resources to like get you where you are?
Well, it's mainly just get started on a small segments of whatever your product is, because it's very
Mm.
overwhelming to embark on something that you know little about or um, yeah, it was very challenging for me, like to just learn another language and just like, oh my God, like it's so frustrating. But once you start working on what you love to work on and get started in, small like parts, I think uh, it would create small wins, which will take you along the journey. So, but
I think
yeah,
that that's
a lot of meeting people as well. I got a lot of feedback throughout the process, especially from um, my meetups with different groups like React Native groups or mobile growth groups and all that stuff. So,
that's amazing. And that actually kind of leads into this next question of like, how has, the San Antonio community or your communities really supported you in these efforts? And it sounds like one is like education resources, but also potentially like test groups. But I'd love for you to share more about, how you've participated and what resources you've found here in San Antonio to get this thing off the ground.
okay, San Antonio, there are a lot of people that have helped me out, and I enjoy all the networking events, well, not just networking events, but events. that helps, clarify, startup life and investing and all that stuff. So those were very valuable. And, I mean, the Geekdom Pre-accelerator program, and um, uh, that's another way that I, help bolster my product. And it's, uh, it's been amazing. The mentors from the program helping me, refine my pitch and my delivery and help me through the fundraising process. So I am thankful for that. So yeah,
Well, thank you.
and it's
Yeah, I
just
mean, we're very thankful to have you.
yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah, I mean, the San Antonio community, and you've been around, you've been a member of Geekdom for quite some time now. So you've kind of seen us evolve, through the
Mhm.
years to get to where we are and all that ecosystem building. I think that the really cool aspect of having a longtime member participate in a program like this. I mean, we've done this pre-accelerator for the last couple of years, but I think that we're really starting to hit scale and that we're really starting to pull in amazingly talented founders, and give them this platform. Um, but you bring such a unique perspective to the journey too. And I know that with what you're developing, with where you've been, that you're only making our program stronger by your participation and your feedback, but also our community. Because, San Antonio is one of those that when we all win together.
Mhm.
And so we go with each other. And so it's really nice to have you be a part of this and be so committed to continuing to be involved, because clearly you could take this app anywhere, which I think is pretty phenomenal. um, so we do always kind of want to address the elephant in the room because it's massive and it's scary and it's whatever, and everyone is kind of struggling to figure this out. But with the COVID-19 pandemic issues that we're all facing, how has this impacted your business? Or because Closet Melody has always been kind of a mobile application, have you weathered this better than maybe some other founders out there? Or we'd love to hear your experiences on that.
Well, it has affected the way people are using the app a little bit. Since people are going out less often, they are, less likely to schedule outfits. So we saw a decrease in outfit scheduling, but it's coming back up. But on the bright side, at least COVID has introduced a new accessory, the face mask. So
This is true. My wardrobe has expanded by many, many masks, as I'm sure other people's has as well. Um, so, other than adding that element, has there been additional opportunities that have actually opened up for Closet Melody as a result of COVID-19 that maybe, you wouldn't have gotten?
um, no, during that time, I've been keeping my head down, just trying to improve the app, um, iterating. So no, and I'm just starting the fundraising process in August. I decided to delay it a little bit because of COVID,
I,
the
it's totally
uncertainty.
understandable.
Mm.
Um, Excellent. Well, so, okay, so let's see, 2019, you were doing your beta testing, you had your 20 beta testers, then you decided to launch to your two test markets. With your customers, can you talk about, like, it's one thing for founders to have ideas and to kind of put those minimum viable products together and even get things tested, but like as you're doing organic customer growth, like, can you talk about the process of approaching your initial customers and how you got them into the Closet Melody pipeline, and what challenges came up, what unique opportunities or lessons learned came as a result of onboarding these initial clients?
Okay, so first it started with validating the idea. Um, I just did that by just going to networking events, meeting people as usual, and pitching Closet Melody to them to see if it's a viable idea to embark on. And I got some good feedback just from that, and also testers from that. So when it was time to do the beta, sent it off. got some initial feedback, and it was okay. Trying to get those 20 to up to 20 to give me some feedback. It's like, pulling teeth almost. Uh, but then I decided to just launch it anyways. And that's when I got the targeted users that I was looking for, um, than just anyone. Because I think this product, I'm seeing a lot of people that are actively looking for closet solutions and decluttering solutions and outfit ideas via the app, the Apple App Store search. So got a lot of feedback from there, and I decided to send out a questionnaire to all of them, and I got back some really good insights. I learned that the product wasn't there yet in terms of ease of use, and that the top two places that they get their fashion inspiration from was Pinterest and Friends. So that was a good thing. Um, so from there, the iteration started to continued. Um, so once I got to a level where I saw that the quality of clothing being uploaded was sufficient, I decided to move to the U.S. market and all other places. So, so I mean, it's a process of just iterating and learning, um, asking the right questions, and uh, people making sure that you answer the user's questions, because I have a feedback form as well on the app, and they were regularly using it to tell me, oh, something's not working, oh, I don't understand this. Yeah, so that's how I filled the backlog and started to um, improve the app. Um, Now it's at a point where I'm getting absolutely, no complaints, not absolutely, but maybe one or two here or there. But yeah, it's come a long way. It's not going to be perfect in the beginning. It shouldn't be perfect. It should be enough to just get the gist of it and attract those early adopters.
Man, you are such a professional and like, so brave. I mean, there's tons of founders out there, and this is not a slight, and this is not a brave for a female founder or brave for a female, developer or anything like that. That's just, it takes a lot of guts for anybody to like stick their ideas out into the world and
Mhm.
to then also find a way to get feedback and to receive feedback gracefully,
Mhm.
and then do something with it to be productive and iterative. So, like, I'm just really blown away by how strategic and targeted your approach is. And, if you have ever had those super like valley moments as a founder where you're like maybe crying in the corner because people don't like your baby that you made,
Mhm.
you certainly seem to carry that incredibly well. Have you found it hard to receive that feedback at times, or because you've been doing development for so long or working in technology, you just kind of knew that this is part of the process?
Yeah, I knew it was part of the process. And I take myself out of the product. I just, don't associate myself with it.
Mm,
So I just see the feedback and I'm like, okay, so how could I improve? Or how could I change this rating? Or so I think the key is to take myself out of it and just not get too, not get too carried away with all the feedback or making it
man,
seem like we're attacking or yeah.
you're as cool as a cucumber, Daisy. And I think that that's awesome because, it's hard not to feel like you are your dreams lived out loud. And like, if they don't like this particular thing, that they don't like you. But that's a really great set of skills and degrees of separation for founders to emulate, because, it is such an emotional journey. It is crazy because of all the peaks and valleys that come with start creating a startup and building something from nothing. So kudos to doing that well and to do it with grace. So now that we've got, the beta testing going on, like if I was a new user, and I wanted to participate with like Closet Melody. What's the process for being a new user and entering into the Closet Melody universe?
Okay, so Closet Melody has launched, so you could really get it in the App Store. The beta testing is closed, so it's there. It's in the App Store. So first, you just create an account and start uploading your clothes to the app. Once you have a sufficient amount, you'd be able to use some of the app features like the auto outfits, which automatically puts your outfits together and give you some outfits ideas. And yeah, so
That sounds amazing. And is it both for Android and iOS, or is there one particular
oh,
platform?
just iOS for now. Yeah.
Good to know.
I know I'm using a cross-platform framework, but I had to include native modules, so I just stuck with iOS.
Excellent. Well, I mean, you are only one woman. To be fair to you, you
Yeah.
are only one person. Let's tackle one platform at a time. Fantastic. So, okay, so I take pictures of my clothes, and does this include accessories? Is this something like if I have really great shoes, or if I've got jewelry or purses and things like that, that I could put them together, or is this, purely for like what I have in my wardrobe?
Just what do you have in your wardrobe? We haven't added the accessories part yet. That will come later, hopefully after I fundraise. So, because I can't do, two things at a time. Fundraising is another job. So, yeah. But yeah, it just takes into account your clothing items like your tops, bottoms, dresses, shoes, and yeah.
No, but that's immensely helpful. I mean, especially for like having to put together professional outfits, even for Zoom calls. I know that people tend to wear comfy pajama bottoms, when the top half is all business, but like you look at your clothes after a certain amount of time, men and women alike, and you just go, I don't even know how to think creatively about what I'm putting together. I've
Yeah.
felt over the years that like, oh, I've got the same 6 to 7 outfits to take to different conferences, and I hope I don't run into the same people, at the same conferences, just in case they don't think that I have any clothes. So having something to help kind of take what I have in my own inventory and give it new life that already fits me, that already, works is pretty amazing.
Right. Yeah. So we're trying to make sure that, not too much brain space is like being utilized when you're trying to figure out what to wear. Because you can only hold a couple of things in your mind and you have all these clothes. So it's easy to just use the app and, have it suggest a couple outfits for you and, go about your day.
Yeah, no, thank you. It looks like we have one of our first questions. Guys, this is a great time to remind you that we have about a half hour left with the brilliant and amazing Daisy. So if you do have any questions in terms of product development, mobile app development, product market testing, launching in international markets, what else can we talk about in terms of how fabulous you are? So drop your questions in. We've got her for the next half hour. But the first question is what was that aha moment when you knew that your idea could be a reality?
When I got my first 5 star. And when I got a couple of emails saying how great the auto outfit is, yeah, via the feedback form. So I thought, okay, there is an audience here and I'm reaching them. So yeah.
That's amazing. And so this was part of your feedback form that you created, or was this like a 5-star review after it already went into the app store?
After I went into the app store.
Talk about being vetted. That's amazing. How long did it take you to get that 5-star?
It took me a long time. Um, I think it was in March that I got it or something. Yeah, it took me a while after launch. But it was all the emails that were being sent saying that, oh, this is great, but you need to add this just one feature. Oh, this is great, but just add this one feature. So those are more critical feedbacks, but in general, I knew that, they're really serious about it, finding the perfect closet management system for them. And yeah, so that's why I was like, okay. So people are uploading their pictures and using the auto outfits. And I just thought, you know what, this could be something. I just have to keep working at it and, you know, taking their feedback, their critical feedback, and making the app better. Yeah. So the aha
That's
moment wasn't
fantastic.
really one moment. It was an accumulation of moments. So
You didn't just wake up one day and be like, I've arrived. This was something that you were
yeah,
building towards.
no, I feel like there'll be more aha moments in the future. So
Mm.
so yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, it, it's so great to have you on this in this spotlight, showcasing your abilities like and your approach. And I mean, thank you for being with us today. I think what's really resonating with me of what you just said had to do with like listening to the critical feedback and then adding features. How do you as a founder and the main developer determine like what features are really crucial to the growth of the platform overall versus something like one or two comments where like, yeah, that would be interesting, but it's not really how do you really prioritize what features you add next as you move through the process?
Okay, so as I was building the app, I knew I had to have the foundation down. So they are competitors in the space. So I had to have at least the closet management um, down. Uh, then, with the foundation, I just made sure that the app was better and differentiated enough to, compete in the marketplace. So that was one part. And then the customer feedback started rolling in, and I started prioritizing like which features should be in the next release just by how aligned is it with the vision, and how would it, will it be helpful to a majority of people, and how easy it is to implement. So that's kind of how I thought about adding in those features. And some I just didn't add because I'm not in the right place to add that. It wouldn't make sense, or um, I need maybe a bigger team to add such a feature, So yeah.
No, thank you for that. I think that that's really relevant advice. It's so hard when founders are getting started to take feedback from customers or potential users or mentors and try to find the real path forward without getting lost in the weeds or building some kind of feature that was interesting but it wasn't impactful and it ultimately wasted resources, including your time. We did have a couple of questions come in. So one of them had to do with, what recommendations do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs and or app developers? How should I get started?
Recommendations. Well, first start with something that you're passionate about so that you could see the whole project through. That's one that helped me. Um, and uh, just know that there'll be competition, but no matter how big, they all have challenges. So you should just keep pushing through. Yeah, and go to your local tech meetups and mingle with people and get help from there and just grow your network of support.
Awesome. Thank you. Um, so Ricardo on Facebook was asking, what's the hardest part of forming your idea and then launching it?
The hardest part, um, how would I? The hardest. I don't know. It's all one big hard project. What's the hardest part? Um, well, developing it was hard. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I think it was all just, it's not a cakewalk. It's not like, it was all hard. So developing it and finding out, designing it and developing it, that was just, you know, a struggle for me because I am not really like in the trade of, developing web apps and mobile apps. I just did it for my companies. So I'm not really like a developer or software engineer. So it was hard to like learn the new technology and then kind of implement it the way I want it to implement, at least to be to compete amongst the other competitors. So yeah, I don't know, the hardest part. Maybe getting better beta testers. That was the hard part too.
Yeah, could you speak a little bit more about getting beta testers? Because I think, if and I'd like to point out, I don't think at this point you can say that you aren't a developer or that you're not a mobile app maker or software, whatever. I think at this point you've well beyond accomplished those things, to
Yeah.
where you're standing now, for sure. But for the beta testers, right? So if you are a natural developer or you're someone who, like yourself, right, is willing to learn the skill sets to create these things, how did you go about recruiting people into that beta component?
Well, I use close friends of mine and family, close friends, family, and people that I've met in the networking events that resonated with the idea. So I had a list of them. I even went to BeautyCon, which is like a conference for beauty related uh, brands and influencers. So I just walked up to people and just introduced myself and uh, asked them to take a survey and asked them to, be beta testers. So yeah, that's how I got my 20 beta testers, just from networking, friends and family. And yeah,
That's amazing. Um, I think the friends and family component is definitely really crucial for starting, founders or entrepreneurs or anybody trying to build something new, because you're not always going to get like the most unbiased feedback from your friends and family, but you know that you could always put it in front of them, and that they'll at least like be able to walk you through the initial process, or get you a good foundation of feedback, so then you can go dive a little bit deeper and expand that network. Somebody just asked a question where you're obviously very passionate about fashion, but what other things are you passionate about?
what am I passionate about? I don't know. I love dogs. I have a I have a dog, so I don't know. What else am I passionate about? Traveling. I love to, you know, explore new places. Um, yeah, I've been all over Asia and grew up in Nigeria. So yeah, I love to travel. And yeah, I'm sure I'm passionate about other things, but um, food's good. Yeah, not really
That's
foodie
awesome.
status, but yeah,
But you like good food.
yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I think that the Closet Melody, like how you've approached, at least from my perspective, right, having industry experience and some other things, like how you've approached Closet Melody and your business endeavors leading you to this point. Like I think you're pulling in a lot of really great experiences and synthesis of a lot of those passions all into one place. And then getting to like really exercise a lot of control as well as a founder. So like you get to go and learn about new things, you get to go talk to a bunch of new people. You even chose test markets that aren't in your immediate test market. Was the thought about going overseas with these things to be like, if I can make it work over there, I know I can make it work here? Or, what really spurred that decision?
Oh, to take to the test markets? Oh, just to, because I wasn't ready to release it everywhere. Definitely wasn't ready. So, I mean, it's a common thing for apps to release in a common thing for big companies that create apps to release it to test markets. And I read that Australia and New Zealand are the perfect test market because, their first language is English and um, their demographics are, pretty much the same as US. So I just chose to do that and it worked out. So yeah, because I didn't want to, I knew the product wasn't at the right place to launch it, all over the world. So I just took that time to you know, get some feedback under the radar and to develop it.
I mean, as a researcher, like I've got like, oh, there's just so many great things about what you said. Having done some research, figuring out how to roll out test markets, like which
Mhm.
test markets would be the most applicable to, what you ultimately want to achieve as a developer and a founder. Um, could you list maybe a couple of those resources like that you would, kind of your defaults or your go back tos that you find gives you really great information and insight like that to help other app developers and entrepreneurs out there figure out where to maybe channel their test market efforts, or just how to focus their go to market strategies overall?
Um, Resources. Let's see. Well, I just found some articles online that told me about test markets. But my main resources that I go to are Stack Overflow for any tech like blockages, because I get a lot of that. I got tons and tons. So many that I thought, you know what, I can't get through this until I found like someone else that already has that problem and it was solved. So yeah, also I took a lot of Udemy courses on app development and um, OpenCV, and so there are a ton of resources that you can't. It's it's difficult to get too stuck on a project because there's so much information out there. So yeah, those are the resources, and also, join groups, technical groups. Just what go. I think everything is now virtual, so you could go to whatever you know meetups you can find all over the place. So yeah, mobile growth meetups, those are valuable. Yeah, what are resources? I don't know. I think that's about it.
I
Those are
mean,
the big ones for me.
yeah, those are amazing. I mean, I think just like hearing from another founder who's seeing such success and, who's really been measured about their approach too. I think that's just another thing that's so impressive about how you really built Closet Melody. And,
Mhm.
the I think that there's a lot of impetus for people who have great ideas and this feeling that I have to do this, which means I have to do this now and I have to do this all at once, because if I don't, those opportunities aren't going to come for me, or it's going to take too long. And I think, you're a really great example of someone who had a really great idea, who had, spent the time to think about how they wanted to make it happen, but was still willing to just put it out there. Um, and then to leverage the resources at your disposal and to hear what worked for you is immensely valuable to the people who are tuning into this today. Do you as part of these resources and like development of yourself as a person, because you're a brilliant founder and a wonderful person outside of this project, clearly travel, you got a puppy, you got all these great things going on, what other things do you do for holistic personal development, or mindfulness, or how do you kind of get through these tough parts of being a founder?
Take long walks. Just take a break. Sometimes it's better when you have like a hairy bug to just close your computer and just go walk around and get fresh air and let the sun hit you. And yeah, also I do meditation, listen to calming sounds and all that stuff. So it just relieves a lot of stress, I guess. So yeah. And it's always going to be things are always going to take longer than expected, especially in the beginning stages. So yeah, just just know that it would take longer than expected. Could make the journey seem a lot less stressful than just trying to hit a deadline for yourself. Like, mm, there's always something to do, especially when you're such a small team. You have everything to do. So I try not to let it overwhelm me.
Yeah, I mean, knowing what knowing what you can take on, like what your bandwidth is, like, I think that the kinds of things that you've been pursuing will really help you figure out how to test the limits of what you're capable of delivering. But
Mhm.
reminding yourself that as the sole founder of this, and the developer behind this, that, you are your best resource and that you have to really protect that resource as much as possible. Um, both physically and mentally, as well as emotionally, in order to see that long term success. You can't run yourself into the ground and expect that Closet Melody long term be something that could fly, right? Like, you're the driving force behind it. So you have to be taken care of.
Mhm.
Um, where do you like to go for hiking? I mean, you live in the San Antonio area. Like, what's one of your favorite spots to check out or that you would really recommend people go look at, maybe that they wouldn't think of initially?
Um, I mean, the Riverwalk is nice. No, when I was working at Geekdom, I would just go, you know, walk on the Riverwalk, around the Riverwalk, and it's very scenic. So yeah, that's what I would do during lunch or just anytime I need to just take a break. So it's nice that it's just right there, you know. Yeah. And I forgot the park, but it has like a an arch. I don't know, a dome arch or something. I forgot the park is guided.
Confluence? Is it Confluence Park with
I think
the
so.
concrete
Yeah.
pavilion? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a gorgeous park. They've done a lot of really amazing things to it. I have not been, shame on me, but I hear it's amazing. Um,
Yeah, it's pretty
so
good.
if you're listening, Confluence Park and the San Antonio Riverwalk, and they've got those expansions going over off of Main Street, over by the new TPR radio station. And so I think we're going to see some really cool features added to, what's currently on the Riverwalk. Just checking in on the time. It's 1:13. We've got 17 minutes left with Daisy. There have been some phenomenal questions coming in. Please, while we have the time with her, because she's about to be incredibly busy over the next month or so as we gear up for the Pre-accelerator demo day. Um, a couple more questions from me as we were waiting for other things to come in. Daisy, if you could really wave a magic wand, or if you could project out into the future of the influence of the Closet Melody universe, what is it that you'd really love to see happen? What is the big vision, and how Closet Melody is going to transform, you know, uh, our closets over time?
Yeah. I see Closet Melody as the go-to app for all fashion-related decisions since it has the closet. Um, Especially with the fashion discovery feature, I feel like our goal is to help shoppers just find the right clothing that fits, which would then in turn minimize the returns. So to make for a better online shopping experience as well. So yeah,
Mm, it sounds amazing. That sounds absolutely fantastic. Um, what are, we've talked about, you learning to do things as a developer. We've talked about you sort of pushing the boat out as a founder. being a woman in technology, or being, a person in technology that has gotten to dabble in all these things, like, what are some of the biggest personal challenges you've faced, in getting to this point in your career? I mean, having a degree in electrical engineering, that's what you said, right? Electrical
Electrical and
engineering?
computer. Yeah.
Electrical and computer engineering. 'Cause, so getting an engineering degree, moving into software development with a hardware background and wearables, like, you know, how did you set yourself up for success in these kinds of times? Because, those are hard degrees for anybody to get, let alone to step into the wearable space and now into mobile app development. We'd love to hear, your stories of triumph.
Um, well, it took a lot of, I mean, I've always wanted to build a product when I was like younger. I always, you know, dreamt of like the commercials for the product as well. So I don't know. I went into getting my degree to, you know enough to build something that's meaningful. So
Mm,
that's how I chose it. I mean, I've had a couple of challenges with um, just meeting people, getting myself out there because I'm a introvert. I would say I'm an introvert. Yeah, definitely an introvert. But that has been a challenge, just getting myself out there and meeting people and getting the resources that I need um, has been a challenge. But I've always overcome that just by just my just feeling the fear and just going anyways. So yeah. So I mean, it's been a long haul journey with my entrepreneurial experience, but I've learned a lot. I think that you always get something from any experience. So it's always good to keep account of all of your lessons so that you wouldn't um, one day think, "What am I doing?" So yeah, and I don't know. It it has been fun. You always have to make it. You always have to make it fun. So by working on your passions. So and yeah,
Man, I mean, there's just so many really great things about what, you talked about. Like, I think there's a lot of engineer developer type people who turn into founders, and like they have these passionate ideas and they have to figure out how to advocate for them. And it
yeah,
sounds to me like as a kid, you had almost like the perfect balance between wanting to be an inventor of meaningful things and then wanting to also be the person to package that for other people and to spread the word. Which is really cool that you've now created a life where you get to do exactly that,
yeah,
and on your own terms. That's amazing.
yeah,
Um, and that takes a lot to give yourself the permission and the agency to go do those things, just for anybody to go, live out their dreams and to make that kind of stuff come to reality. And, you know, um, being able to put yourself in the public space the way that you have, and to do so gracefully too. Like, I just have to commend you. Like, I think it's so graceful how you're like, oh, I'm kind of introverted and I'm doing these things, but yet you sound like one of the bravest people that I know, because you like feel that fear that you're talking about and then you just go do it. Anyways, that's amazing.
yeah. I mean, the first couple of times would be a doozy, but you just have to keep going. Just have to keep going. Yeah.
I think that that's phenomenal. Okay, we've got 10 minutes left, guys. Please drop your questions. Daisy is phenomenal and she's got a lot of things to get through today, as do we all, but we want to hear from you. We've got about 10 minutes left, before we kind of wrap up for the week. So you're talking about things like to make it really fun. What's the most fun thing about the work that you're doing? That puts a smile on your face every time you have to sit down and do it, or that you could get lost in the weeds if you don't kind of like reel yourself back to a good starting point to deal with the other not so fun things that you have to put up with.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm a product person, so I like seeing the final product the way I want it built. So this whole development is just a means to get to the final product. So yeah, I think that's fun that I can just say what I want to build and build it and have it live for others to see. That's the fun part.
Mm.
Coding for me is, it's just a way to get to the product. So when I have the product, I'm like, wow, this is, I did that.
You're like a
So
master architect.
yeah, you just make it fun and, create the lifestyle that you want, I guess. And, yeah.
I think that that's, you know, amazing. And it just speaks, I think that you do that. You live it out so well, and how you're putting all of these things together. Um, I think the last question while we're waiting for those final, audience participation things to come through, what's the next thing on the horizon for Closet Melody? What big things do you have in the pipeline that you feel comfortable sharing or that you want us to be mindful of over the next couple of months?
Okay, well, Closet Melody, I'm going to start fundraising for Closet Melody. Um, yeah, the next couple months. So I'm going to start in August and yeah, just introduce myself and network and just just grind.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big endeavor like you talked about, I think, earlier on in our discussion today how fundraising is sort of its own job, right? So
Yeah,
you've got, to this point where you've got the development foundations in place, you've gotten validated by your customer markets and by
yeah,
your users, and you have your, I would say probably more than your core features built out. You've got some of those additional layers, which is really nice and a juicy spot to be in, especially if you wanted to speak to investor communities about traction and penetration and, like validated markets. And I think that, you've really put yourself in a great place to then move into that next phase. Um, well, of course, if there's anything that Geekdom and our community can do, by the way, share this video, tag Daisy and Closet Melody and Geekdom, so that way we can get the word out about how amazing she is. Um, if people wanted to go learn more information about Closet Melody, can you give your website or your social handles so that way people can find you?
yeah. So to learn about Closet Melody, you can go on the website. It's closetmelody.com. I also have an Instagram, which is Closet Melody app, and we are in the App Store. Just type in Closet Melody, and there you go. The Apple app.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Any idea on when we might be able to expect the Android version out there for all of our Android users?
It'll be probably next year, this summer. Yeah,
Man,
next.
one more thing to wait patiently for because I think between Mary Kondo and Closet Melody, I think people are going to be in a really great position by summer of 2021 to really like let this thing explode. Um, Daisy, thank you so much. I haven't seen any more questions come in. We're finishing a few minutes early, but I am so excited that we had a chance to do this and get to know you more personally as a founder, as well as to hear more about Closet Melody. It's deeply inspirational to the people in our community, and I think really highlights and showcases the talent that San Antonio and this ecosystem offers. Do you have any last minute thoughts or parting words for us before we sign off today?
Oh, I'm just glad to be on here with you, Joyce. So thanks
Well,
for
I love
having me.
that. Yeah, anytime. I mean, I think that this is the first of many conversations with you, and to continue to promote your successes in this pre-accelerator program. The pre-accelerator demo day is going to be in September, so you all stay tuned for the final notifications and registration for that. We would love to showcase other founders in our cohort with Daisy and Joel. If you haven't had a chance to go check out Joel's interview, it was last Tuesday. You can find that on our Facebook Live or our YouTube channels. Coming up next week for our week 3 startup spotlight, we're going to be meeting with Allison's and Roman Sandoval to learn more about his team and what they're working on over the course of the next few weeks. We have a couple of other community spotlights coming up too, so please stay tuned. If you haven't checked in on anything coming up with CivTech SA, we know that our residency for the 2020 cohort is coming up in September as well. If you have any additional questions for Daisy, go ahead, drop them in the comments or email us at info@geekdom.com, and we'll make sure to get them to Daisy. And with that, we really hope you have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. Daisy, thank you so much again. I'll see you for sure on Thursday, but don't be a stranger.
Okay. All right. Bye.